Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Tea Time, which is our women's segment that we do on this channel. However, today, I do think this episode will be good whether you're a man or a woman, no matter what your age. Today, we are talking to Matthew Gay, who has been on this channel before, although I think it's been a while since he's talked about his journey as a health coach and what that looks like as a Christian. And so today we're going to be talking about how to honor God as we steward our bodies towards health and a healthy lifestyle. So I hope today's a blessing to you and that encourages you and gives you some new information. All right, Matthew.
Yes.
I'm so glad you're here.
Dude, I'm pumped. Very pumped.
So I did want to start out by asking you, like, what started your journey as a health coach? Because I know that's not what you've always done. You've had kind of a pretty big testimony, which I know parts of, but I don't know everything. So could you just walk us through what kind of led you to where you are today?
Yeah, it's wild because I did not grow up like an athletic kid at all. I was in music, right? So big transition took place when I eventually became a fitness coach. But just going back to the year before I got into the fitness industry at all, 2009 was like a really like eye-opening year for me. It was a wake-up call. I feel like God was like, wake up, Matthew. I ended up in jail that year at the beginning of the year from a DUI that I had gotten. 3 months later, I'm in a car accident with an 18-wheeler, me and 4 others. And that really wrecked me. It woke me up. And that I attribute that moment to me gravitating towards Christ, because I just realized, like, man, like death can come so unexpectedly and so easily. So that was in 2009. 2010, Kathleen and I moved to LA, and we're opening up a office with the company that we worked for when I was in that car accident. We were coming back from a conference for that company, and things just went south, man. Like, we literally rushed our marriage. Like, we put together like our wedding in 2 weeks, move out to LA, and we're sleeping out of a duffel bag for like 2 months before the guy in an apartment with like 3 other dudes. Beautiful honeymoon.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We didn't have a full room, man, but young and excited, you know, to move to the other side of the country. Neither of us had ever been to California, certainly not to live there. And we thought we were going to be out there forever, but the guy that we moved out there with, who was opening up the office, like disappeared, like just ditched the whole operation, left everybody kind of wondering what the heck happened. But we think it had something to do with like the money that he got to open that office. And it was kind of like you start off, it's entry level, and then you work your way up, and then they give you money to go open your own thing. We think he took that money and ran. But anyways, spent about a month walking around Hollywood Boulevard and different places trying to find work, couldn't find anything. So we moved back, and I had done sales for like that past, few years. So I'm like, well, let me look for something in sales. And I walked into a Bally's Total Fitness. And I was like, hey, I can do sales. And they interviewed me. I got the job. And so I'm giving tours to people. Funny thing is, at that time, I was still smoking like a half a pack of cigarettes a day.
Wow.
I ate fast food daily. I was in pain all the time because that car accident the year before, they ended up putting a 7-inch rod in my pelvis that I still have to this day because it fractured my pelvis so bad. And so I just was in the worst shape. I mean, honestly, just terrible shape. But I'm walking people around this gym, selling them a gym membership, encouraging them to take on a healthy lifestyle.
That's crazy.
So that occurred, but I would say what happened for me that really changed, and I think this speaks to the journey of any individual when you're trying to take on a healthier lifestyle and actually create lasting changes, that my environment changed more than anything else, right? Like that's what led to the mental shift that led me to actually start living a healthy life. I was around people all the time now that were actually doing that and seeing how far away I was from that.
Yeah.
And it took some time, but I started to get curious, and I wanted to not feel so insecure around these guys that were walking around all muscly and strong and confident. So I started dabbling with that, and I went on my own personal journey for a couple of years. And 2012, we ended up getting like a settlement from that car accident that I was in. We were hit by an 18-wheeler that was owned by a company, and so everybody in that car accident, they were given something for that. And took that money, opened up a performing arts school with Katie. We both, that's how we met in the performing arts. She was a dancer, I was a singer, and did well for a little while, but some things happened throughout the build out of that, and we had to close the whole thing down. And I found myself just very stressed out. Like, what am I going to do? Mind you, we're about to shut this whole thing down, and we're about to have our son Zion, who's our firstborn, in like 2 months. So it's like, this is not the time. We were losing everything. Like we were in way over our heads at this point. And we had to shut everything down. I had to give away one of my cars to the guy who built out the school for us, because we were still paying that off. Couldn't afford to do that anymore. Hit up my parents, and they're like, you can stay with us, but like we lost our apartment and everything like that. So it was just like, probably one of the worst seasons of like worst years of my life. I mean, man, like think about 2009, and then 3 years later, it's like this happening again. So it felt like the beginning of our marriage was like,
really
bam, you know what I mean? But man, I found myself in the gym a lot, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. And so I said, okay, Lord, like I love fitness. I've been on this 3-year journey of changing my own life. I had transformed my body and my mindset and my lifestyle and whatnot. So I stopped at the gym one day and talked to the manager there, and was like, hey, what do you have to do to become a personal trainer? You know, I could serve people this way. And I had also grown in my faith over the past couple of years as well too. So like, I didn't just want to do anything. I wanted to serve God. Yeah. But I didn't really know what that looked like on a financial basis. So I know, okay, well, let me at least serve people in a way that I resonate with. And so I went and got certified through NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine, and been coaching ever since.
Wow.
So that's
cool.
Yeah.
Did they, after you had your accident, I'm assuming you did physical therapy and stuff, right?
Yes.
Did they talk to you about like, this is how you should continue living? Like, did they give you like, you should be doing these exercises kind of thing?
Somewhat. I mean, they gave me some things that they wanted me to do and stretches and whatnot, but there wasn't a whole lot that they
of
were
like
giving
coaching me. Of like, this is what your life should look like.
No, I mean, the doctors had told my family, even when I was in the hospital, like if he walks again, he'll probably have a limp for the rest of his life. Wow. Because of just they also didn't know if I was going to be able to have kids, just because of like,
the way that your pelvis
it lacerated my spleen, it lacerated my liver, fractured 4 vertebrae in my spinal cord. Like it jacked me up. Yeah. So I don't know what they were, what the goal was for them. Yeah. But they didn't give a whole lot of coaching as to what I should do to improve myself. It was more so like what not to do, what to stay away from, how to minimize pain, how to manage pain, I guess. Yeah. But not necessarily how to strengthen myself. They kind of left that in their own care. And I think that makes sense, right? They don't want me just trying this and that. But not a whole lot of coaching on that. Yeah.
I feel like it's hard when you're not really given the tools of like how to steward your body towards just like a basic level of health and functioning. Although at the same time, there's a lot of resources out there, especially nowadays. Like you have the internet, there's so many, exercise programs and diets, and there's so much. Although I do think in like the Christian world, especially, I think it's easy to kind of make excuses as to why you don't even want to bother really kind of finding some routine or change to your lifestyle. And I know you talk a lot about this on like your Instagram and things, but what are some common excuses that you have heard for Christians to not either exercise or have a healthy diet as like part of their life? I mean, interestingly enough, it's the same excuses as everybody else. Like I don't think Christians are any different in this way, which is part of my argument, is that it should be different because the God who created our bodies, this, but you understand that your body is not your own, and you read the Bible and you see what it says about your body, but it's the same excuses. I don't have time, or it's a lot of I don't feel motivated, or I know what I should do but I don't do it, or I'm an emotional eater, and kind of laugh it off and whatnot. So it's like it's the same reasoning that people who don't believe in Jesus was giving me throughout my time in the gym. I work with I've worked with more non-believers than I have believers. This is like a 4-year journey of me, more so working with believers, but that is a good point, that like we know who made us and how he made us. Like generally speaking, even if you're not like a medical person, which I am, like I remember in nursing school, anatomy and physiology was like my favorite class because I was so fascinated. And I remember learning about I just remember the professor when we were talking about your muscles and how when you put stress on the muscle and on your bone, it helps your bones to actually get stronger.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is incredible that like God gives us these ways to like almost take advantage of the way that our bodies work to be healthier so that we can function in the world and just do what we're called to do, you know?
Absolutely.
And even just like how your heart pumps and how your heart is a muscle. And if you work it, it will perform better.
Yeah.
And, you know, just all these things.
Which I think is interesting, right? Like same thing. I was very intrigued and fascinated by like how the body works, but like everything you just mentioned there, like look at the design of God, that we would build muscle and, you know, build bone density and strengthen our heart and thicken the heart, the walls of the heart and our lungs through challenge.
Yeah.
Through just natural challenges that we would experience, right? Like before we had desk jobs, like sedentary, you know, jobs, desk jobs and whatnot, cars, Amazon Prime, you know, Uber Eats and stuff like that. Like you had to do so much that naturally challenged those elements of your body that would naturally keep your bones stronger and your muscles, you know, strong and your heart walls and, you know, all that. So, you know, it's interesting how he's designed us for growth and to naturally preserve ourselves in that way. And the farther we've gotten away from that lifestyle, the way it used to be, the sicker we were getting and, you know, the worse we are.
Yeah. Could you talk about, and I know I didn't put this in our notes, but could you talk about emotional eating? Because I think especially for women, that is that is a big thing, especially when we're like at different times of the month, we're like, oh, I just like, you know, kind of use it as an excuse. Like I just need a sweet treat or like, and I'm like that too. Like, I mean, I love my desserts and ice cream and brownies. Those are like my two favorite things.
Yeah. Well, and I think honestly, I think it's important to acknowledge that like I think there's a difference between like you may be deficient in something and like your body's sending signals like to replenish in a certain way and you're picking that up as I need a sweet treat or something like that. I think there's a difference between that and like I'm stressed out, I'm worried, I'm mad, I'm happy, I'm gonna eat. You know what I mean? There's people who are like true emotional eaters are like, it's Tuesday, I'm eating, I'm mad, I'm eating, I'm happy, I'm eating. Like it doesn't matter what's going on, it's raining, I'm eating, it's sunny, I'm eating. So like, you know, the thing that I speak to a lot of people about it regarding this is that every emotion, there's a biblical response, right? Like if you're happy, rejoice in the Lord. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the pantry. If you're anxious, by all things, through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. If you're angry, don't sin. Like, you know, there's the response to emotions, and I think emotions really are supposed to draw us towards the Lord. But a lot of times our pantry or our fridge becomes our sanctuary, right? And so you can self-soothe, and we kind of wag a finger at people who do that, you know, through drugs or alcohol or, you know, certain things like, you know, I'm having an emotion, I have a desire that's leading to a craving, and I'm going to fulfill that craving. I'm letting my flesh lead me. I'm walking in the flesh in that way. We do that for some stuff, but then it's like, well, when it comes to food, it's not a big deal. Like it's okay if it's just, I mean, food's not a sin, right? Like it's not, I'm not intoxicated by, it's like, well, you can be, right? Like you can indulge so much that you do throw off your brain chemistry. You can, you know, and gluttony is a sin for a reason. You can overdo it and you can treat food, in a way that you're really supposed to be treating God, right? Like I'm seeking comfort, and he literally calls the Holy Spirit a comforter. I'll send you a comforter, right? A helper. And so I don't want to replace God in any way, shape, or form in my life. If in that moment, there's an opportunity to seek the Lord's face, to pray, to read his word, to speak to a brother or sister who can help me through that emotion, to release some things in that moment. If I'm going towards food, I'm replacing God in that moment. And the problem is, the worst thing I think about emotional eating is that you actually do feel better in that moment. It may not last very long, and typically it comes with regret, which lets you know it's not actually good. It just seemed good, right? But you do feel better a lot of times, which then means you don't actually go deal with the thing that was causing what you were feeling. You self-soothe. I feel better. Okay, I can keep going. And that's how we can go through life, right? Like, let me just do what needs to be done. All right, let me slam this energy drink. We got to keep going, right? Like, I'm not going to sort through the fact that I don't have good sleep hygiene. I'm not. Yeah. So the same thing can apply with your emotions. God will have you actually work through the cause of it. He'll actually have you get to the root of it. If you sit with him and say, okay, Lord, I'm feeling real stressed out. Like, I feel real overwhelmed. I'm not about to like just, you know, give my body what, you know, I'm not going to just, you know, appease this craving. I'm going to come to you, he will actually have you like look through what's going on. Who do you need to talk to? What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? Right. And so you're then forced to kind of seek biblical and wisdom and guidance and Christian community and guidance in that way. And there's a whole different path towards sorting through your emotions, God's way versus through the world's way, or our flesh, what our flesh would have us to do. Yeah,
that is so interesting. That's a really good point, because I think stress is a big one.
Oh, dude.
For people to run to a dessert or like pull the pint of ice cream out of the freezer rather than what you said. Like, if you're stressed, go to the Lord, because that's what the Bible says. Right. And you're right. It only, like, you can eat half a pint of ice cream and put it back in the freezer and you're right back to where you were 30 minutes ago.
Right.
You know?
And now you have regret because it didn't actually do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're like now you have shame.
Yeah.
On top of being stressed. So it's like, that backfired.
Yeah.
But then we learned that. It's like, I don't even know why I'm eating. I've had people tell me, like, I don't even know why I was in the kitchen.
I know.
Like, it's just like, naturally I came home. It was a long day. And like, boom,
just
put down my stuff, fridge. And I'm looking in there. I don't even know what I'm looking for.
I know.
Just in the pantry, looking around like,
I know. Yeah.
Well, you just learn that pattern.
Yeah. And it is hard, because I was thinking about what you had said earlier with the way that our world works nowadays, rather than, back in the day, like, your livelihood was normally like more of a physical job, and they didn't have cars. You had to walk everywhere or like ride a horse or something. Yeah. And now
which is still a workout.
Yeah, exactly. And you drive your car to work, and then you sit at work, and then you get back in your car, and then you get home and you sit down for dinner, and then you sit on the couch, and then you go to bed. And people do that every single day without even, and in their mind, they're probably like, well, I'm not sedentary because I work every day.
I'm doing things.
Right. But you're sitting, you're not moving, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that I had talked to you about beforehand was 1 Timothy 4 8, where it says, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way. And I've heard people use that verse kind of as an excuse of like, well, bodily training is of some value, but godliness is of more value. And so I don't really need to pay as much attention to training my body. Yeah. But I thought the rest, I was like, let me look at what the whole context of this chapter says. So I'll just read 4:1-8 really quickly.
Okay, yeah.
It says, now the Spirit expressly says that in later times some will depart from the faith by devoting themselves to deceitful spirits and teachings of demons, through the insincerity of liars whose consciences are seared, who forbid marriage and require abstinence from foods that God created to be received with thanksgiving by those who believe and know the truth. For everything created by God is good, and nothing is to be rejected if it is received with thanksgiving, for it is made holy by the word of God and prayer. If you put these things before the brothers, you will be a good servant of Christ Jesus, being trained in the words of the faith and of the good doctrine that you have followed. Have nothing to do with irreverent, silly myths. Rather, train yourself for godliness. And then that's when it says, for while bodily training is of some value, godliness is a value in every way.
Yeah.
So,
and then it says something like right after that too, right?
It says it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come.
Right. Talking about godliness. Yeah.
So can you just unpack like why this isn't an excuse to not take care of your body?
Yeah, because he's not speaking just generally. He's speaking to like the ascetics. Like he's speaking to people who like are saying they're creating rules and whatnot, thinking that like this harshness towards your body and depriving yourself of certain things is going to make you more God, like draw you closer to Him, make you more righteous or whatever. And that's just not how it works, right? Like,
yeah, because you're not abusing your body.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, exactly.
You're not starving yourself, because that's a whole other issue.
It's a whole different thing, and there are people who are like trying to be enlightened and whatnot. That's like a whole different realm of belief and philosophy around how we become more God-like, essentially, right? And there's different religions and thought processes around that, belief systems around the world that people are doing that, fasting for extended periods of time. Not for godly reasons whatsoever, right? But like to build up themselves and make them more, whatever their thing is, right? Enlightened or whatever.
Yeah.
But so he's not speaking generally about physical training as it being of little value or some value. Overall, he's speaking about eternal benefit. He's speaking about, and this is what he says right after that. it holds promise like for the present time and the time to come, talking about godliness. So he's saying, yeah, like physical training, like you do need to have some sort of emphasis around like disciplining this body. And Paul also says this, I discipline my body, right? But like that doesn't replace godliness. So he's keeping the main thing, but also speaking to the people who are making physical training way more, almost elevating it above like what true biblical godliness is. He's saying that's not the case. That being said, the people who are using this as an excuse are just taking it way out of context.
Yeah.
Physical training, the fact I said, shared this with you before. I think it's interesting that he even says like, hey, physical training is of some value. Because he could have said it's of no value.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there are translations that would say it's of no value, but he doesn't say that. He says it's of some value in the context of this eternal benefit that he's overall talking about. Right. And the reason is that physical training holds value for now, for the present time. Right. It just doesn't hold value for the time to come. Right. Godliness holds value now and then. So yeah, you'd really have to twist that scripture in order for it to justify you being honestly living in contradiction to the rest of the Bible, right? Like if you're going to use any scripture to justify you being a sluggard, to you not demonstrating self-discipline, you are definitely contradicting God's word, and you'd have to take it out of context in order for that to make sense in your mind.
Yeah. And I think like whatever your health routine should help you be more godly. Like it's a part of it. Yeah, it is part of it. Because I think for me, and especially like for moms in general, I think, and it kind of makes me happy. I think that there's a lot of young moms on the internet that are like working out and trying to pay attention to what they're eating, because I think people are starting to see like, okay, this actually helps me be a better mom and a better parent when I can function on like a basic level. And like for me, like after I had our third, and because I had 2 kids back to back, I was like, I feel so weak. Like because I really did not work out or stay consistent with anything really in my third pregnancy. I was just kind of trying to survive. And so after I had her, I was like, I feel awful. Like I could barely like lift the stroller in the car. I was like, all right, something's got to change. And then you realize like, okay, I can function without being in pain. Like my back doesn't hurt. I am sleeping better. I'm not like lashing out at my kids because I'm just overall feeling better. And your mind is clear. And so I think that's when it comes into like, it does contribute to your godliness in a way when you have that set. Yeah.
Your condition, your physical condition, it has an impact on your impact, right? On the people around you. Like you're not lashing out as much, you're feeling better, you have more energy, you're able to do certain things like that. Just, I mean, it has an effect on so many aspects of your life that you can't even keep a track of it all. Right. And the same in the negative sense, right? When you're not taking good care of yourself, you don't even realize how much that's affecting your life.
Yeah.
But then, there are moments where when you are living a healthy lifestyle, you're like, man, that, lifting up the stroller was easier, getting to the top of the stairs. Those are just the things you notice.
Yep.
You don't even like realize like, man, because your mood was better, you responded to this person in this way and now they did this and that was helpful to them. You know what I mean? Like it carries out either way. And, that's just, I think that speaks to just overall when you approach your life in a godly way, in a self-disciplined way, and you walk in the ways of the Lord, like it just overall impacts your life in ways that you don't even realize. But the same applies when you're doing things your own way. You're walking, according to your own logic. You're letting the flesh kind of lead you, man. It creates more problems than you can keep track of.
Yeah. But yeah, I also want to talk about body image, because I think that's another part of this conversation, especially for women. So how do we kind of let go of seeing fitness solely as a way to improve how we look, especially for moms? I think there's this like underlying thought of like, once I've had kids, if I can get to the point where people look at me and say like, oh wow, like you look like you haven't had any kids. And that's kind of the goal that I think a lot of us are trying to reach subconsciously. So how do we let go of that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you totally can let go of that. I don't know. I mean, there are people out there that would say, yeah, for sure, like I've totally let go of that. But I think it starts with a sense of like personal just value, overall. Like when you truly do value something, you take pretty good care of it. And so you like, I wouldn't, I don't know. I don't take care of my kids because I want people to see me being a good dad.
Yeah.
Right. Like I genuinely care about them. I love them. I value them. So like, there's just things that I do for them that it's like, I don't care if anybody's watching or sees or cares. Like I'm going to do it because I value. And so like, but when you don't value truly something, but like you feel like you're supposed to, right. Or you've learned to value something that in your heart of hearts isn't the most significant thing to you, then you almost become in a way enslaved to the image of that thing. Right. And so it's like, I was consider this for a while in my own life. Like, how would you see your body? How would you see your life if social media didn't exist? If commercials didn't exist? If you weren't able to consistently compare yourself to other people's physiques, how would you see yours? Right? Mirrors, right? Think about this. Like you look back, like they didn't have as many mirrors as we do now. We have mirrors literally everywhere. Like for a while, the closest thing you had to the mirror was water, and even then, it was kind of distorted, right? But like, I think in order to let go of this, this, I don't know, this draw towards I have to look a certain way. This is what matters most. You have to start practicing valuing your body for what it's capable of, for what it's done for you, for the measure of health that you have. Because now then you begin to, like, you're doing the healthy things from a place of stewardship rather than from a place of what I don't have or what I wish I had, right? And I think that it's hard. It's very difficult to build a lifestyle on a negative, right? I'm trying to build a lifestyle on where I wish I was or where I think I have to be if I, in order to truly love myself and accept myself. Like that's not a good basis for building a lifestyle. That's not a good foundation. More so, I would want to build a foundation for anything in my life on what I do have and what God has done and like what I'm grateful for. And like, that's why I say it from a place of stewardship, because now you're looking at your hands and you're saying, okay, what capabilities do I have, right? Regardless of the measure of health you have, can you walk? Were you able to have kids or how, does your body heal when you get a cut or get sick or like, because it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
So, man, it's a deep dive. It is. Yeah. That's how you do it. It's a deep dive. You look within yourself and say, why am I doing this? Like, what actually truly matters to me? One, so this is on the side of like what mindset I'm trying to create, because I really do want to focus on what matters most in my life, my family, my faith, like my impact, my ministry, stuff like that. But then also like, where did me digging at myself and my image come from? Can I get back to that? For me, like I grew up as a chubby kid. So when I first, like fitness became an idol for me, since I started seeing some results. So it's almost like you would think like things would get better because you're living healthier. And it's like, for me, in a spiritual sense and a mental sense, it got worse because now I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, ooh, like you look kind of good. And so like fitness did this for me. So then you make fitness the idol and it's like, wow. And so I think it's hard for people who have been in shape in a season of their life because they compare themselves to that forever, right? It doesn't matter what you've had 3 kids, you're still looking back at when you were 17. It's like, that's not fair, man. Like that's not how bodies work. That's not how life works. But I was seeing myself for the first time in great shape. Then, life happens, things going on. You kind of get out, I got out of that shape, but then it's like, you start looking at yourself in the mirror, feeling self-conscious because you don't look like you used to. I tell people, I don't know if I'll ever do like a men's physique competition because I think that messed with my sense of body image more than anything. Like seeing myself that shredded and in that great of shape. Oh man, it tore me up because you go back to just normal eating, living a healthy life, being active. It doesn't cut it. Yeah. So now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm fat and pinching myself. Yeah. Like I'm tugging on my shirts and whatnot. And it's like, dude, nothing's wrong. What are you talking about? My wife's like, chill, dude. Like you look great. Like what are you doing? But
because that was such an extreme, version.
It's like, oh, I can do this. Like to know that my body is capable of that. It's like, so you start fighting for that. And that's where, you start serving the image, you start serving the scale. But you value, man. Value what why is this important at all? Because if you can't find that, you're not going to stick with it anyways. So you'll be motivated by your the what you're seeing in the mirror before the shower. You say, okay, I got to do something about this. So you start some like crazy diet. I'm gonna go keto. I'm gonna go carnivore. I'm gonna cut off all food. I'm gonna do OMAD and whatever it is, right? because you're trying to get that thing fixed fast because you hate what you're seeing. It's a terrible motivator, right? But that, even in the sense, I think for Christians, we're built different. I say this a lot. So like we've been made new in the sense that our primary motives for a lot of us has changed. Maybe at one point in my life, what I look like would have been a very strong motive, but like, I don't care about that nearly as much. So like, what's my motive now? Like, that's like Christ, my family, my church. Like, these are the things that are most important to me.
Yeah.
Where does my body fit into that?
Yeah.
Where does me, you know, being a certain weight fit into that, right? And so this is that separation of faith and fitness, to where you've got this little box where like you are certainly looking to look a certain way and you're seeking after that image and you're making it all about that or what you weigh because you think it's going to make you look a certain way.
Yeah.
When you piece this together with your faith, you stop doing that so much because you then give yourself the permission to pursue Christ through everything that you're doing, including the health and fitness journey. And so it's taking it away from like this private box where my mirror and my scale tell me whether I'm good enough or not. Yeah. Now it's like, man, the practices are what like validate me in the sense that I know I showed up and I moved my body. I'm eating healthy food. I'm getting good sleep at night. These are all in worship. These are all in honor and respect towards God because I know my body is his temple. And so the value is now found in who I belong to and you know, who I was created by. Yeah. And that's where we see our clients like making big changes, big shifts in their mentality. It's, you know, they stop keeping it separate and they're like, man, like the value, if I can link to the value of my body, what the true value is, I'll stop. Like, I think people say, like, people always want to give you like practices and tactics and methods for dealing with the problem itself. I don't think that you really solve a problem by staring at it harder. I think you solve the problems that ultimately stem from the flesh by staring harder at Christ, not by staring harder at the problem and say, okay, what can I do better about this? Like, no, ignore that. Yeah. Focus on him in this area. And a lot of this other, like, turn your eyes upon Jesus. Right. And the things of earth will grow strangely dim. Even the problems that you're facing with your own body image. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good.
That was a lot, but
no, that was so good. Yeah. So if someone, let's say, you know, they're listening to this and let's say they don't have a gym membership. They don't want to like count their macros, but they want to get into a routine. They want to start incorporating just some healthier things into their routine, whether it be movement or their diet. So what would you say are like super basic things that someone can start doing?
Yeah. Try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night. Go to bed. Set a bedtime. Everybody's got an alarm for waking up. Set an alarm for going to bed. Get rest. God designed us to need rest. He commanded the people of Israel to have a Sabbath day. Like, rest is like a pretty important thing. It literally, he rested on the seventh day, not because he got tired, but he demonstrated the pattern. Like, he demonstrated what he wanted us to do for us. So like, we need rest. Take the rest. And I know it's funny because everybody's thinking like, oh, well, what should I do to get healthy? Oh, you got to work out. You got to do that. First thing is like, because once you're rested, you have more energy to do those things. You're not dealing with many cravings and whatnot. So again, a lot of the issues kind of like fall down when you're not like exhausted and just making hasty decisions based off of the fact like you need comfort and convenience because you don't have space for anything else. So rest. Hydrate, man. Water. We're sitting here drinking on some water on tea time, right? So like, water is, he designed us to need it. Try to drink half your body weight in water, right?
Like in ounces?
In ounces, yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Right? Like, you need to drink
50 pounds of water.
Of water, right? You need 100 pounds of water, right? No, but closer to 100 ounces, right? If you weigh 200 pounds, 100 ounces, right? They're about, work towards it, right? We're creating standards. We're not setting like strong rules or like, it's not always a program. Sometimes it's right. You put standards in place and you say, okay, I'm going to set this and I'm going to try to stick with it. When it comes to nutrition, like, look at Genesis 1:29. I talk about this a lot. Vegetation, right? What comes from the earth? That should be in your diet, right? Like, you shouldn't look at your plate and it look like the desert. It should look more like the Garden of Eden. Yeah. So like, color up your plate, right? Find ways to work fruits and vegetables into every meal. Every meal. Find ways. You can put berries in your oatmeal with a side of eggs. You can obviously, there's all kinds of vegetables you can put with your lunches and with your dinners and even in your snacks, right? Play around with the different colors that are out there, the fruits and vegetables. Variety is key. explore the beauty and the wonder and the power of God and what he's created daily through what you eat. Commune with God through food, right? It was his idea. He thought it was pretty cool. He said it was good after he made it all. So like, you want to walk with God in every aspect of your life? Walk with God when you eat too, right? It was his idea for us to need food, and he made it all. Before he put human beings here, he created all the vegetation, and then he says, you know, he creates man and then says, look, this is what I want you to eat. So, you know, on a basic level, more fruits and vegetables in your diet, in each meal, water, rest, and then just daily movement, 15 to 20 minutes of something, man. It could be stretching, it could be walking, it could be push-ups and sit-ups or whatever it is. But I will say that one of the easiest places to start, I think, is to walk. Yeah. We were made to walk so much more than we do, man. People struggling to get 5,000 steps a day. And I'm like, bro, that's very problematic. You see in countries where there's, you know, these blue zones, man, people are walking all day, you know, 20,000, 30,000 steps. Like that's normal to have to walk that much. But based on where you live, and we see this a lot still in like places like New York and, you know, cities and whatnot where, you know, you're either metroing or taking a cab or you're just going to walk. Things are just in closer proximity. So you can walk these places and it's not as convenient to have a car. But in places like here in Hampton Roads, there's a lot of distance between your house and what you need. So you're driving everywhere. Well, exercise is really just simulating a more naturally active lifestyle in my thinking, right? The gym, walking. So, you know, then add some walking to your day, right? So if I were to just kind of recap all of that, I like to give context when I say things because I think there's a lot of like, do this. And nobody says why. But, you know, get rest at night. First of all, try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Prioritize your sleep. Guard that. Hydrate your body. Half your body weight in ounces if you can handle that. But work towards that if you can't at first. Fruits and vegetables in every meal. Prioritize. Try to find fruits and vegetables and protein. I didn't say that, but protein in each meal. But if we're trying to keep it even more basic than that, start with the fruits and vegetables. Protein certainly comes in, though, for multiple reasons. Satiety, recovery, fighting off diseases. Like your body uses protein for way more than building muscle. And then also just daily movement. Start with walking. 20 minutes a day is really great. At least 20 minutes, we find that when you raise your heart rate and elevate your heart rate and keep a sustained steady state cardio is what we call this, there are more benefits. You're focusing now on your aerobic energy development system. And so that's mood stability. That's just more sustained energy throughout the day. Certainly that's more calories burned. If you're trying to lose weight, that's helpful to you. So at least 20 minutes is what I would recommend because you do want to get your heart rate elevated and hold it there for a period of time in order to actually get the benefits according to what the studies have been done. But you can go 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, whatever, right? But try to at least get to the 20-minute mark. I am going to say go based off of duration versus distance because most of the benefits are done on duration, simply probably because some people can go a mile in 20 minutes. Some people can only go half a mile in 20 minutes. It's more so about the duration of time, but try to get to at least 20 minutes of walk and elevated heart rate.
Yeah. Interesting. That's so good. Yeah. And I love how those are so basic. Like, I think it's so hard with like Instagram and there's so many, there's just so much. There's Pilates, there's CrossFit, there's like, drink a gallon of water a day. Yes. And not that any of those things are bad. Like if you enjoy those things, cool. Like, if that's what's going to help you move your body, that's great. But I just love, I think I loved everything you said. It's so good. I don't have anything else to say.
Bet.
So.
Bet. Is that it?
I think so.
Sweet.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. I think this was really good. I think it'll be helpful for a lot of people. Yeah. I hope so. And guys, talk to me. I'm here. Like, because let's say like someone's already doing that, and they're like, okay, now I'm ready to do something else. Yeah. Then absolutely talk to you. All right, workouts for you. Well, whatever tweaks you need to make, I'll help you with that. But just talk to me. I don't charge anybody to just have a quick conversation, you know. But I am here to. That's what I do for a living. So if you need that kind of help and accountability, whatever it is, like literally just come talk to me. Like absolutely. Let's get you healthy because your body doesn't belong to you. It's God's, and you've got life to live. You got things to do. We need you healthy. We're many members, but we're one body. The better you are, the better I am. The better Kathleen is. The better like we all are. You're like if we're bearing one another's burdens, I'm also considering the fact that maybe if you're not taking good care of yourself, you might need some help with that. You might need somebody to walk with you for a while until you get yourself squared away. Because we need you well. Yeah, we need you well. We should be well. Yeah.
Matt, that being said, where can people find you if they're not here at Water's Edge?
I was about to say, just find me in the foyer after church. But, actually a great place to talk to me is on Instagram. I am at Fit Church United. And that just send me a message. There's some links in my bio so you can check out like our online fitness community. If you want to work with me one-on-one or you want to talk to me one-on-one, then just send me a message and say, hey, Matt, I heard you on, Tea Time. I want to talk to you more about my personal health journey. And we'll schedule a call and just have a conversation, connect. I'll learn about you. And if it sounds like you'd be a good fit for what I'm doing and how I'm helping people, then we'll talk about what that looks like and move forward. But nothing else, reach out.
All right.
Instagram.
Awesome. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is one of my favorite episodes, I think. So if you loved this episode, please leave us a review, like, subscribe, do all the things, and we'll see you next time.